Not every party is a good time, but it is often a complex and sometimes intensified intersection of relationships, social circles, and personalities, which makes it the perfect topic for a concept album. Hi, I'm Carmel Holt. Canadian singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist Andy Shauf did just that, using his observational powers and his own social awkwardness as fodder for his third album, The Party. On his return to Studio A, we get to hear a couple songs from this new collection that he once again wrote, played, and produced everything for. And we chat about his 2 new record deals and what parties are like for him. Welcome back to WFUV.
Thank you.
It's so great to see you, and great to see you so soon after the last record. But I know when you were here for The Bearer of Bad News, that album was already a couple years old, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to look back to that session, though, because you had already started work on this new album called The Party. But something has happened, something big, which is that you got signed in the meantime to not just one, but 2 labels.
Yeah.
Congratulations, and tell us about that.
Thank you. Yeah, I got a deal with Anti Records in the States and the rest of the world, and then in Canada, I'm with Arts and Crafts. It's really cool. I mean, Anti is an amazing label, and Arts and Crafts, that was like my dream label when I was 20 and like sending demos to labels.
So how did this happen? You weren't sending demos to them now, were you? Did they come to you?
They came to me, yeah, I think just the last year of touring really hard kind of paid off, and the right people heard my record and decided that they liked it. So,
and I know you love Wilco. It's very cool that you're label mates with them now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So where were you in the process of putting together this new album when you got these deals? Did that change anything in terms of the recording of the album, or?
I thought that I was done the record when this stuff kind of started to happen. We sent them all like, this is what the record is going to be. And then I went back home and sat on it for a long time, and I went back home and sort of changed everything. I think I left like one song the same, but I kind of just redid it. The first version of it is never like the last version, the finished version of it. So I tinkered with them for a long time, and now I'm done, which is nice.
And you're probably already on to the next thing.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah, there was enough time between Bear and this one that I got time to write again. But
which was how long?
Well, we initially released Bear in 2012, so I had finished it in like 2011 or something. And now it's, 5 years later or 4 years later. So yeah, there was some time. I need that time again before I can finish something or start something.
Why do you think it takes you that amount of time?
I used to write a song like once a week. I had a lot more free time when I was that prolific or whatnot, but I also just had less of an idea of what I was going for. So I think it's easier these days for me to just scrap an idea, be like, I don't like that. And then it just takes longer to find one that I do like.
Could you articulate what it is that you're going for now that you've kind of crystallized that vision?
It's not a specific thing. It's just a specific way that a song can suit my voice. Because I have kind of an odd voice. And the way that I naturally phrase things and words has changed over the years. And it's just harder for me to feel comfortable within a song now, I think. It's like more of a specific thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's interesting. In terms of your approach to the recording, last when we spoke, we talked a lot about how you played everything with the exception of, I think, like a couple of touches on The Bearer of Bad News. And we talked about how rather than starting with something simple and building layers, you actually start big and then take things away. Has that approach held to this new album as well?
Yeah, it's kind of the easiest way for me to figure out what's working in the song is to kind of put the whole core of it into it and then take out things so that I can find where things are working and where they're not working. It's not like I would necessarily put in 30 clarinet tracks and violin tracks and all that stuff first, but, I start with drums, bass, piano, guitar or something, and then I'll take away everything so it's just bass and drums, or just drums, and if I'm not feeling like it's sitting right, and then I start to build it back up from just the bare essentials, I guess.
Interesting. Andy Shauf is our guest at 90.7 FM and WFUV.org. The new album, his third, is called The Party. The other thing that we talked about last time was just the sad tone of The Bearer of Bad News. And it was like the first album was called
Darker Days.
Darker Days, right? So it was Darker Days, Bearer of Bad News, and now it's The Party.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not really a
I
happy...
mean, it's not a great party. It's, yeah.
Because this is a concept, right? Maybe you can tell us what the concept album is.
I guess it's kind of a concept album. It's just kind of like one night. It's a party. So it's a bunch of occurrences at the party. It's mostly like conversations and stuff. It's a pretty loose story. Like, there are characters that run through it. There's a guy, Jeremy, who's in quite a few songs. They tie together very loosely, but they do tie together, I guess.
Well, the album opens with the first song up today. So you want to help us kind of get into this first song?
Yeah, so The Magician is the first song on the album. When I started writing the album, it wasn't going to be a party-themed record, so it's more of a personal song. It's about just being sort of uneasy in life, I guess.
Andy Shauf at 90.7 FM and WFUV.org. Here's The Magician. We're live in Studio A at 90.7 FM and WFUV.org with Andy Shauf and his band. His third album is called The Party, and that's a live version of the song The Magician that actually opens this new album. And I like what you did there with your voice filling in for the instruments that aren't part of this live performance. It's pretty cool. How is that, adapting that for a band? I'm guessing you're still approaching your recording the same way, playing everything yourself?
Yeah. With these songs, it's a bit different. On The Bearer of Bad News, I did a lot of like layering and harmonies of clarinets and stuff. So when we took it to the band, it was kind of hard to find hands to play all those little parts. But with this one, I kind of built it more off of like using unison for melodies. With like clarinet and electric guitar, they'll all be playing in unison or octaves. And then so bringing these songs to the band, it's easier because one guy can play the melody line.
Right.
Which was kind of intentional, I guess. Just like make it easier on myself.
Right. I was going to ask you whether you kind of had, big learning curve there, learning experience from doing The Bearer of Bad News, it was a real like leap for you, right? And then being able to take that to a band and then touring behind it and needing to bring it to a live setting. It was an ambitious project. So maybe having that knowledge, that experience influenced how you approached doing this one.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because The Bearer of Bad News, if you listen to it, it's super sparse, but it was way more difficult to play those songs like with a band than these ones are, because these ones were just, I made them so that a band could play them.
Right.
Those ones were like, I don't know, it was all over the map.
And you made that album in your parents' basement,
Yeah.
right? So tell us about the making of The Party.
I actually started it in a studio in Dresden, Germany. We took a bunch of songs way too early and tried to record, and it didn't go very well. So
Oh no, why? What happened?
We just weren't ready, and I was kind of deciding to scrap songs in the studio. So yeah, the only thing that we kept there were a few violin parts. And then I brought it back home and worked on it for a long time and took it out to British Columbia and worked on it in my brother's church for a little while, and eventually took it back to Regina and worked in a studio there for 3 months probably and finished it at home.
So did you self-produce this one as well?
Yeah.
You're the guy, I think last time you were here, referred to you as the magician, like kind of doing all of those things, and then there it is. You actually wrote a song about the magician. So it's interesting thinking about this concept of the party. I wondered where that came from because it reminded me of are you a fan of Paul Thomas Anderson movies?
I don't know that many, but Josh, our bass player, has been talking about them. You need to see all of this.
You do.
Yeah.
You do, for sure. Put that on your to-do list. But I just wondered whether that's how putting together a concept like this, like a night from different perspectives, kind of things happening simultaneously. Is that sort of how it plays out in your mind? Do you see it sort of cinematically like a movie?
Being the person who made the stories on this one, I kind of see more how they're like disjointed. So I don't quite see it like that. I kind of just decided to do it like that because I think the first song that I wrote for it was Early to the Party. It's like the second song on the album. And it's just about a girl showing up early to a party and getting mad at her boyfriend or her date or whatever. And then I had another song that was about like a bad night. I kind of just decided that it would help me focus, like help to focus the lyrics on the album a little bit more if they had a running theme. Yeah.
Let's get to this next song. It's called The Worst in You. So what happened, maybe it's not that linear, between The Magician and The Worst in You, kind of catch us up and then bring us up to speed to where we are now in the record?
Two guys are talking. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like, there's just people all over the room.
All
just
over the
talking
room.
to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's join this conversation. This is Andy Shauf live in Studio A with The Worst in You.
I took her with a cigarette, and then I fell for my light. In my front pockets, it was nowhere to be found. So I went back in the door. I kicked off both of my shoes. I looked around for your coat, and then went looking for you. I thought that I heard you laugh by stepping down the stairs. So I walked carefully up till I was almost halfway. I saw two closed doors, so I let my heart break. Are you running around or just running away? Why do I always find the worst in you? Do you always find the worst in me? Do I only find the worst in you? So I stood still for a while, trying to hear again. But then from the living room, I heard you calling my name. Found you smiling, asking me where I've been. Why do I always seek the worst in you? Do you always seek the worst in me? Do I only seek the worst in you?
Andy Shauf and his band at 90.7 FM and WFUV.org, The Worst in You, live version of that song that can be found on his third album called The Party. Introduce your band that's here with you today.
On drums is Olivier Fairfield. On keys is Colin Nealis. And on bass is Josh Daniel.
All right, cool. Last time you were here, we were talking about how you listen to music, and you said that you're a guy that picks like 5 albums and just listens to them on repeat. What are you currently digging these days? What are your 5 albums that you have on repeat?
I've been listening a lot to Nick Drake's Pink Moon album. I've been on a lot of like flights this year. That album is really good to listen to on the plane or like trying to navigate a annoying airport or something. Chris Cohen's Overgrown Path is one that I've kind of been listening to, just like obsessing over that album for a long time. Another airport album for me is Last X. Olivier plays in that band. It's like some of the guys from Timber Timbre.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
It's like an instrumental record. It was meant to be like a film score.
Uh-huh.
It's really interesting if you...
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to check that out. When you did The Bearer of Bad News, you talked about how it's like Prairie People's very prairie. It wasn't intended to be a prairie album, but it was. And I was curious about parties in Saskatchewan. If this is based on kind of like a type of party that happens from where you're from.
It's kind of like a Regina House party. Saskatchewan, Regina.
Okay.
I mean, when I was writing it, I was just like picturing the house that I lived in was the setting for most of the songs. I didn't have like specific friends in mind, but I think it's the way they act is kind of, it reminds me of home, I guess.
Well, now that you've been traveling a bunch, I imagine that you've had party experiences all over the world, and you have something to compare those house party experiences to.
Yeah.
Are they different?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, people are different everywhere. People just have different cultural norms, I guess. The cultural norm maybe in Saskatchewan is to just be a little bit quiet.
So has your party gotten different since you started to travel with this music? Your party-going persona, do you feel like you've come out of your shell at all now that you've been doing all this traveling?
No, I don't think so.
You're still the guy in the corner observing the party?
Yeah, until I've had a few, and then I'm the guy yelling at the party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andy Shauf, our guest at WFUV. The new album is called The Party. So before you take off today, I'm going to invite you to play DJ. Last time you had an awesome choice. I can't wait to see what you're going to pick today. No pressure.
Let's play Chris Cohen's Heartbeat.
Oh, great. Since we were just talking about it.
Yeah, it's a really good song.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with thanks to Andy Shauf. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Heartbeat by Chris Cohen, the guest DJ pick of Andy Shauf, our guest on today's FUV Live. His latest album is called The Party. You can listen and watch today's show along with many other exclusive conversations and performances in the FUV Vault at WFUV.org. This session was engineered by Ben Carbone and produced by me, Alisa Ali. Thanks so much for listening. This is 90.7 WFUV in New York.